I raised 3 children. I gave them my youth, my strength, my love. When my husband died, they promised me one thing. Mom, you'll never be alone. But the night I fell on my kitchen floor and lay there for hours. None of them came. They didn't ask if I was okay. They asked how much trouble I had become. They took me from my home, put me in a nursing home, and forgot about me. Until the day I said 5 words. I'm changing my will. That's when my children remembered they loved me. But what they didn't know was that I had already made my decision. And when they heard what I left them, they begged me to forgive them. If you think you know how this story ends, stay with me, because this grandmother didn't stay silent forever. My name is Eleanor Whitman. I am 74 years old. And before you judge what I am about to say, I want you to understand something. I loved my children more than my own life. I was the kind of mother who never sat down until everyone else had eaten. The kind who stayed awake all night when her child had a fever. The kind who gave without keeping count. For 48 years, I lived in the same house, a small white house with a porch that creaked when you walked on it. That house heard my children's first cries, their first laughs, their first fights, and their promises that they would never leave me alone. My husband built that house with his own hands. When he died 12 years ago, a part of me died with him. But I stayed strong. Because I still had my children. At least, I thought I did. After my husband passed, the house grew quieter. Not peaceful quiet. Lonely quiet. At first, my children visited often. They checked on me. They told me I was doing great. Then life got busy. Phone calls became shorter. Visits became rare. And concern turned into irritation. I never complained. I told myself this was normal. That children grow up. That mothers learn to disappear quietly. One winter evening, I slipped on the kitchen floor. I fell hard. The pain in my hip was so sharp I couldn't scream. I lay there for hours. Alone. Cold. Thinking about how many times I had picked my children up when they fell. When my eldest son finally arrived, he didn't ask if I was okay. He said, "Mom, you really need to be more careful." A few weeks later, all 3 of my children came to see me together. That alone should have scared me. They sat across from me at the dining table where I once packed their school lunches. Their faces were serious. Prepared. My daughter spoke first. "Mom, we've been talking." My heart started pounding. She continued, "We think it's best if you move somewhere safer." I laughed nervously. "This is my home." My younger son looked at the floor. "We can't always worry about you." Then my eldest son said it. "You should go to a nursing home." The words hit me harder than my fall. I looked at their faces. Not one of them defended me. Not one of them asked what I wanted. "I don't want to go," I whispered. My daughter sighed. "Mom, don't be difficult." Difficult. That night, I packed my life into 2 suitcases. Clothes. Photographs. Memories they didn't want to carry. The day they took me to the nursing home, none of them hugged me. The place smelled like disinfectant and sadness. The walls were white. The beds were narrow. I learned the routine quickly. Wake up. Eat. Take pills. Sleep. Days blurred together. I watched other women sit by windows, waiting for children who never came. Weeks passed. Then months. My children stopped calling. Whenever a nurse asked if I had visitors, I smiled and said, "They're busy." What my children didn't know was this. Before my husband died, he made sure I would be financially secure. I never told them how much he left me, because I believed love should never depend on money. One afternoon, a social worker asked me about my will. She asked who I trusted. I didn't answer. That night, I stared at the ceiling and felt something new. Not sadness. Not fear. Clarity. A week later, a lawyer visited the nursing home for another resident. Before he left, I asked him a question. "Can I change my will?" He looked at me carefully. "Yes. If you're of sound mind." I nodded. That evening, I called my children. All of them. I said one sentence. I'm updating my will. Suddenly, they cared again. The next morning, they all showed up. Smiling. Concerned. Holding my hands like they hadn't abandoned me. I watched them closely. For the first time in my life, I wasn't their mother. I was their test. That night, after they left, I signed the papers. And everything changed. They came the very next morning. All three of my children. Flowers in their hands. Smiles on their faces. Concern in their voices that I hadn't heard in years. Mom, how are you feeling today? Did you sleep okay? Do you need anything? I watched them the way a stranger watches familiar faces. Carefully. Quietly. Honestly. Because love doesn't arrive suddenly after months of silence. Fear does. My daughter adjusted my blanket like she used to when she was a child. My eldest son pulled a chair close to my bed. My youngest stood near the window, pretending to look outside. They talked about small things. The weather. Traffic. How busy life had been. Not one of them apologized. Then my eldest son cleared his throat. Mom, about what you said on the phone. I looked at him calmly. Yes. The will, he said. We just wanted to make sure everything's okay. There it was. I smiled gently. I'm okay. They exchanged glances. That afternoon, the lawyer returned. My children sat proudly beside me, certain they already knew the ending. The lawyer opened the folder. I felt my hands tremble, but my voice was steady. I want this read out loud, I said. The room went silent. The lawyer began. My savings, investments, and insurance policies will be distributed as follows. My children leaned forward. To the nursing staff who treated me with dignity. My daughter's smile froze. To the caregiver who held my hand when I cried at night. My eldest son swallowed hard. To the women in this home who were forgotten like me. The room filled with tension. And to my children. They exhaled. I leave them forgiveness. Nothing else. No house. No money. No inheritance. Just forgiveness. My daughter stood up suddenly. Mom, this isn't funny. I looked at her. I didn't raise you to value me only when I became an asset. My youngest son finally spoke. We were going to take care of you. When? I asked softly. Silence answered me. My eldest son's voice cracked. You're punishing us. No, I said. I'm choosing myself. They tried to argue. They cried. They blamed stress, life, mistakes. I listened. But I didn't change my mind. That evening, they left without hugging me again. This time, I didn't wait for them. Weeks passed. Something unexpected happened. I felt lighter. The nurses smiled at me differently. The caregivers called me by name. I wasn't invisible anymore. I started reading again. I joined a small knitting group. I laughed. One afternoon, my daughter came alone. She looked smaller. Tired. I'm sorry, she said. I believed her. But forgiveness doesn't mean surrender. I forgive you, I said. But I won't give my life back to people who left me when I needed them. She cried. So did I. Today, I still live here. And I am not abandoned. I am finally at peace. If you're listening to my story, remember this. Love that arrives only when money is mentioned was never love to begin with.